Good evening, friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities behind Black business. And I should say, Happy New Year because now we're in the year of 2024. And our guest for tonight is Mr. William Thurman, who has taken time out of his busy schedule to be with us tonight. And he is the founder of Sunbelt Soft Drinks. So I want to, Sunbelt Soft Drinks USA. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. So, Mr. Thurman, I want to thank you so much for coming tonight.
No problem. Anytime.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as you know, we are a nonprofit organization and we are working to enhance the awareness and support of Black businesses here in the Chicago area. And we feel the need to do that because we have so many businesses in our community that are circulating the dollars out of our community as opposed to within our community. And the best way we can do to circumvent that is to support our Black businesses by going to our businesses and spending our dollars. That's just basically what it is. And our businesses have the ability to help circulate the dollars by hiring Black people in the community, by supporting other Black entrepreneurs, giving them an opportunity to sell their products in their establishments, using other Black businesses for services to help their business, mentoring entrepreneurs, serving as role models for children in our community, and donating to causes. And so
Exactly.
that's right. And that's why our businesses are so important. And that's why we came together as a small organization to work on enhancing that whole concept. And that's why we have this podcast every Wednesday night. We bring a Black business to you and give um, our community an opportunity to get to know that we have businesses out here and get to know who these business owners are. And so that's very important. And that's why we do this. We are great proponents of our Black bookstores. We used to have 22 Black bookstores in Chicago, and I'm sure you're aware of that, Mr. Thurman. And we were down to two, but we do have a resurgence of bookstores, Black bookstores. Some are black, brick and mortar, and some are online. And all you have to do is go to our website at rrgbc.org, where we have listed our bookstores. And if you know of any other Black bookstores here in Chicago area, please go to our email at blackbiz.grow@gmail.com and let us know, and we will be happy to add any other Black bookstores to our list. We go a step further by featuring a Black bookstore on our website every month. And last month it was Afriware Bookstore, and Afriware Bookstore is now online. So you would go to afriwarebookstore.com where you can purchase books, where you can order books, and you can definitely contact Sister Nzinga if there's a book that you're looking for, and she'll be happy to order it for you. And then we go even a step further by giving a book away. We have the bookstore owner to select a book of the month, and one of our lucky subscribers would have the opportunity to win that book. And so the book of the month for December was The Black Book, edited by Toni Morrison, and it offers an encyclopedic journey through the Black experience in America from 1619 to 1940s. There's accounts of slavery, Jim Crow, real auction notices, music sheets, and as we know the type of writer that Toni Morrison is, this definitely promises to be us not only opening your awareness and knowledge of what our people have gone through, but there's a spiritual side to her writing as well. So we will be announcing the winner of that book in our next podcast. But for this month, we are featuring the Frontline Bookstore, the Frontline Distribution International. Brother Sekou is the owner of that bookstore, and that is also online, frontlinebookpublishing.com. And the books that he has chosen for this month is Lessons for African People by Marcus Garvey. And this isn't the first time, and this isn't the second time, nor the third time that Brother Sekou has chosen that book, because he feels that there are some very important lessons that Marcus Garvey imparted to our people that we need to know. So again, if you want to win either of these books, please go to rrgbc.org and subscribe, and you will have an opportunity to win. This year, we will be working on, as we are already, our public policy issues regarding supporting our Black bookstores. We want our public schools and we want our libraries to support our Black bookstores by giving them contracts. And so we will be talking to various people and organizations to see what we can do to help our bookstores in that manner. And then also here at Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities, we feel that we need to support our financial institutions. There is the Southside Community Federal Credit Union that is located at 55th and Wentworth. They have been there for over 20 years, providing all kinds of support to our community, giving loans and financial literacy classes for people in the community who aren't able to go to some of our major banks and get the economic support that they need. So we ask you to please go to the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. They're located right there in the shopping mall, in the rear of the shopping mall at 55th and Wentworth, and set up an account. This is how banks thrive, off of you opening up accounts. So please consider opening up an account this year at the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. We just ended Kwanzaa, 7 days of celebration of Kwanzaa. Malcolm X was able to have Kwanzaa all 7 days. And if you look at the principles of Kwanzaa, it is all about community, it is all about support, it is all about working together. So let's have a different position this year and know how important it is for us to come together as a people and support one another. So that's what Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities is about, and that is what we will continue to address throughout this year. And so Mr. Thurman, Mr. William Thurman, as I indicated to you earlier, he is the founder of Sunbelt Soft Drinks. And Mr. Thurman, I would like for you to tell us about your soft drinks, because I wasn't aware. I know we have a number of people who have different types of juice blends. I see a lot of that, but I don't see a lot of soft drinks. So what can you
Well,
tell us about your soft drinks?
well, Sunbelt Soft Drinks is perhaps the oldest black-owned soft drink bottling company in the country. Got started in 1987 as a
Okay.
part of a research and development project here in Chicago.
Mhm.
At the time we started Sunbelt Soft Drinks, we started our other non-for-profit, the National Civil Rights Library, for which we'll probably mention just a little bit at the end, because our non-for-profit do some great things. It's been around 37 years.
Okay.
Started the National Civil Rights Library at the same time we started Sunbelt Soft Drinks here in Chicago. It is being sold At Jewel Osco stores, roughly 50 of those stores throughout Chicago, Northwest Indiana. We also sell the product in the neighborhood stores in the Chicago metro area. It's packaged in the 12-ounce glass, non-returnable bottles. We've been in Jewels for over 12 years. Um, we have we were fortunate back in the I say late '90s to connect with the Temptations, the Otis Williams group. They were instrumental in putting together a 30-second commercial for us. I want a Sunbelt right now. It is a 30-second commercial. We have ran it on the radio, and we're going to run it again during Black History Month. Black History Month kicks off in February at selected Jewel Osco stores. We always do a big media piece on Black History Month. Their tie-in with the black vendors in the Chicagoland area. I think they're going to kick it off at 87th and the Dan Ryan. Um, look for the Jewel Osco website for the exact dates. I think they're putting the scheduling together now in regards to the dates of the tastings. There are
Okay.
roughly 30 black vendors that are registered and authorized in Jewel Osco. So that information is forthcoming. This is their 25th year that they've done Black History Month at Jewel Osco. We've been featured and highlighted all over the place. Um, the product's also sold in places like Cleveland, Ohio, Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Getting ready to do some additional expansionary things into Memphis, Tennessee. We cut a deal with Toronto, Canada, some months ago for massive distribution. And we
Mm.
are now in talks with the Oasis Grocery Market there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, not far from
Okay.
the Tulsa massacre. So, well,
Is that a black-owned
that's a black on.
market?
Right, it's
Oh,
called Oasis Fresh Markets in
hmm.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. It is black owned. Um, it's a mile away from where the riots happened at.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's huge. But as I say, we just began negotiations with them. Hopefully, by the time we get into heart of Black History Month, we will have pretty much gone into Tulsa with um, a major level of distribution. We do have, as I
Okay.
said a few minutes ago, a marketing advertising package via radio, print media, posters. We are coming out with the Sunbelt 2024 calendar. More than likely, it's going to surface right at the middle of January. We will be
Hmm.
passing calendars out at the various Black History locations at the Joel Osco stores. Um, we do have caps. We do have shirts and things along that line.
Okay.
So,
So, can you tell us about the drinks themselves? Like,
well,
what kinds of flavors do you have
we
with
have
the drink?
they're non-carbon. Well, they're carbonated. I'm going to say non, but they're
Okay.
carbonated soft drinks. We package them in the 12-ounce non-return. I mean, non-NR. We use the term NR, which is non-returnable. Chicago and the state of Illinois, unlike other states, is not a mandatory recycling. They don't have a mandatory recycling policy. Now we have 8 active flavors, which are very popular. At Sunbelt
Hmm.
Strawberry is perhaps the number one brand we have. Uh, we have the Barack Obama cream soda, um, named after 44. We have the Harold Washington root beer, named after Chicago's first black mayor. We have the orange, the Sunbelt orange, the Sunbelt grape, the Sunbelt Sam Jones edition lemonade, named after number 24 the late Sam Jones, who was a friend of mine, played with the Boston Celtics. Uh, we have the Sunbelt Pink Lemonade, 24 karat diamond edition. We have the Sunbelt Ginger Ale. We have the Sunbelt. That's. I'm sure I've named 8 flavors. I should have had a
Okay.
backdrop,
We
but
count.
there's roughly 8 flavors, um,
Okay.
and they're great flavors. So
Hmm.
come to the very first one if you get a chance, and encourage others to come to all of them. But I know they're kicking it off the Black History uh, celebration at Jewel Osco, and they normally do it the week of Super Bowl, but I don't want to. We were at a Black Vendors meeting about a month ago. We do know
Hmm.
that it's going to kick off at 87th and the Dan Ryan. But check the Jewel Osco website, which will tell you
Hmm.
the whole rundown on the dates and locations and the times.
Okay. And so you have different flavors, any special ingredients, or special sweeteners in it for those
It's
people
it's
who
it's it's
have, have
for
special
the most part
concerns about people.
for the most part the product's natural. Uh,
Okay.
we package it with not high fruit. We don't use high fructose sugar. We use cane sugar, so it's
Okay.
not high fructose. Um, and the blend is great. It's various flavorings and ingredients and things like that to correspond with the respective flavor. Orange,
Okay.
the breakdown is the flavors that tie in with the ingredients mix and the blend. Same would be the strawberry and the other flavors.
Well, I know when I came to the store to look for the product, I spoke to the manager, and they told me once they get them on the shelf, they fly off the shelf. You
They
know,
do.
you can't
They're back on the
hardly keep
shelf
them on
now.
the
They're
shelf.
back on the shelf now. We took them. Yeah,
Okay.
they're back on the shelf now. 95th
But when they're
Stone.
on the shelf, people are really buying them.
They're
That's
buying
the
them.
point.
They're buying them, and
Mhm.
that's that's a good thing. As the
That's a
late
great thing.
as as the late John Lewis said, that's good trouble. so so it is. Um, that's that has been a passion, and in the words of Mrs. Elaine Steele, who's a friend of mine, is the co-founder of the Rosa Parks Institute in Detroit. Um, it's doing, pretty well now. Uh,
Okay.
but it's not a situation where we did it initially for the money. It's a
Hmm.
labor of love, to have
Okay.
endured and withstood the test of time, nurturing and journeying with Sunbelt for this 36 going on 37 year of journey to success with trials and tribulations along the way.
So what was the inspiration behind the name of the
Sunbelt.
product?
Well,
Sunbelt USA.
I'm from the Mississippi Delta,
Ah,
Greenwood,
okay.
Mississippi. I'm from the Mississippi
Mhm.
Delta by way of Jackson State University. Um, and a lot of people look at Arizona and places like that as the Sun Belt, but from Mississippi, that's more or less the Sun Belt too, because it's hot down there normally year round. So
Okay.
we adopted the name when we came with the concept and the packaging of the product in 1987, um,
1980.
which was good. So
And what year did you come to Chicago?
I
When
came
did
to
you come?
Chicago in 1979 from
Okay.
uh, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was dean of students at a school for bad boys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, met some people in the beverage industry when I was in Milwaukee. Started out doing distribution of juices and things like that. that got kind of controversial because I had a name brand, which I don't want to mention. So
Mm-hmm.
when that happened and went down, I said, well, I can do this. If I'm selling a lot of their stuff, I can sell my own stuff. So
Okay.
I began to get a chemist involved, flavor chemist involved, and we put it together and got it out, and the rest was history. Um, I went to the reunion of the 63 March on Washington because my dad took me to the first March on Washington, but we did the reunion in 2013. And
Okay.
I had a chance to start this thing in '87. I did an interview
Okay.
with the Washington Times the Washington Times newspaper, and they wanted to know about Sunbelt Soft Drinks, which we've gone and did some marvelous things with it. So all kind of media outlets have interviewed us over the years.
Okay. Okay. So that was your inspiration. Now you say you came from the Mississippi Delta. Did we have our own soft drinks then? Were there black people producing
Wi-
soft
to
drinks?
my knowledge,
No,
to my knowledge,
no.
and to my knowledge, and this might seem comical, but to my
Okay.
knowledge, if we didn't have Pepsi, Seven Up, we had Kool Aid. As
Oh, okay.
as as blacks, I'm sure in the Mississippi Delta, perhaps all other sectors of the country. So um, I don't recall. I think I heard certain flavors being referenced years ago, but
Mhm.
there's not a huge history behind them. They were
Okay.
out there perhaps for short periods of time, excuse me. They were out
Hmm.
there for short periods of time, and they didn't have the staying power. They just, I guess a few of those items that were out there years ago, they were more novelty items, which
Okay.
didn't have emphasis on staying power and making an impact in their respective communities.
Okay.
In my mind, it's the difference in novelty items and staple items that one would think of having in his or her respective community.
Okay. Well, family, we are talking to Mr. William Thurman, the founder of Sunbelt Soft Drinks, and he's
USA.
telling us
Mhm.
USA. I have to add that on Sunbelt Soft Drinks USA. And those soft drinks are sold in a number of stores, and predominantly we know we can get them in Jewel Osco. And what were some of the other stores that
We're
you?
in convenient. We're in convenient marts. We're in Harold's. We're in selected Harold's Chicken Shacks.
Okay,
Okay. Um, we're in convenient marts, gas stations. Um, we got selected restaurants that want us. Just, I mean, it's these are kind of flavors that these people gravitate to because
sure.
they're good, and individuals, you know, the Harold's the Harold's Chicken Shacks, the selected ones, have been phenomenal success for us.
Okay.
Um, they're doing good, and matter of
And in
fact,
my conversation with you, you were also able to get your product in some of the Arabone stores. Am I correct?
oh, yeah, these are considered C stores, neighborhood stores. Several
Mm-hmm.
of them on the southeast side. We have some on the west side. We have a host of them in northwest Indiana. Uh, we're even going as far east this summer with them as Benton Harbor, Michigan, on into Detroit.
Okay.
Um, Working to also do the additional inroads into uh, uh, Indianapolis, Indiana. We've been in several markets with chain stores.
Mm-hmm.
Markets like Scott Foods, which was comparable to our Jewel Osco, which is in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Markets like Biggs Foods, which
Mm-hmm.
is comparable to our Jewel Osco, and they're in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Right.
So We've tried. Sunbelt Soft Drinks is a well-traveled product, been around. It's an activist product, and it's
Okay.
been around.
Okay. Now, when producing a food product, I guess the question I want to ask is what are some things, and this is for people who are considering, you know, going into entrepreneurship with food products. What are some of the things that you have to consider?
Uh, uh,
Because this is a beverage and people will be consuming it. And so, what are some of the things that you have to consider when you're
well,
doing that?
once you do the ingredients, which is your initial phase of packaging, you of course design the label of the
Hmm.
various category of products that you're putting together. You have to have you have to have a barcode for each packaging, and they're issued normally out of Dayton, Ohio, which is called Universal Packaging. All everybody in the food service industry and other industry go through the Universal Barcode out of Dayton, Ohio.
Now, what is the
They'll give
barcode for?
it's for scanning purposes. And
Okay.
in a store like Jewel Osco, everything is scanned in their back door, which is how you get paid.
Mhm.
So it's not a go in with the invoice, here I am, write me
Sure.
up, pay me. Everything's going into the system, their computer, and you're paid out of their central payroll system. Neighborhood stores, not so much. Basically you give them an invoice and they pay you. But the big food stores, chains, etc., the barcode is very critical because this is how you get paid, and it has to be scanned in. If it doesn't scan, you can't get paid. Normally, you don't. Um, that's kind of the norm that has been existing for a while. But going back to the barcode, you pay for film. From that film that you get from the universal barcode, you develop your barcode, which is a series of 11, 12-digit numbers that establishes your barcode from everybody else's, because they'll give you the sequence and the series, and anything you develop beyond the first sequence of numbers that they give you, when they scan it, it's going to say Sunbelt, grape, strawberry, etc. Um, so that's how they identify your product from everybody else's product. You're given a series of numbers, or
Okay.
you give an initial series of numbers, and from that point you create the additional numbers,
Okay.
and then you do the ingredients breakdown with calories, sugar, sodium, all that, because anything related to food is sanctioned and governed by the FDA. Just can't put it out there. Yeah, you can put it out there, but it has to fall in line with the specifications and the guidelines of the Food and Drug Administration.
Okay.
Anybody foods in food, you're governed by them. You may never come in contact with them unless you get in trouble, but it still has to fall within their guidelines. The ingredients, nutrition facts, the whole nine yards. That has to be on that label. And at that point, it's about going to the market with it. You have to.
What
It's
about
very wise.
what about producing the product? You know, I know that often
Well,
people.
I have
Uh,
a co-packer. I wouldn't put their name. I wouldn't put his name out on in the media, but unless you're doing your internal in-house plant, normally one would identify what is called a co-packer,
mhm.
because you. I was telling some people today in a little gathering I had with them. Uh, they have the apparatus, but the extract labels, glass, and all the other ingredients that go into this packaging, I own it. It's licensed to me. Sunbelt
Mhm.
Soft Drinks USA is a registered trademark label. So that's what's normally how it's normally done. Um, as I say, I'm a bottler who has a co-packer, which makes life a little easier on me
Mm-hmm.
because all the internal stuff that I do have had help put together, I don't have to do as much of it now. But 80% of the workload falls on me because the co-packer pretty much accounts for 20% of the work. The rest of the work definitely, the rest of the 80% fall on me.
So they're the
Marketing,
ones that actually mix
they do
the
the mixing of the
ingredients
formulation,
that
the
addresses
seal.
quality control
Yeah.
and Food and
Well,
Drug
you were
Administration
correct.
stipulations and so on and so forth.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay, okay. Yeah, that's often even people who make soap,
Yeah.
different ingredients like that, they get someone to manufacture for
Mm,
the quality control of
right.
the product.
That's
Okay,
that's very true. And everything he's doing and familiar with, I am as well.
okay,
But to wear that hat along with the many hats I have, making sure it's done right, it's packaged, it's marketed, it's distributed, it's sold. That's a job within itself.
okay. And so all of those, all aspects of your business actually creates business for other people. So,
It
you
does.
have your
It does.
co-packer and you have people distributing your product.
I do it myself, either my own trucks, and I normally, from time to time, lease trucks for a day, a week, or whatever. But
Hmm.
no, it's how do I say this? Well, let me just say this. I'm perhaps one of the only DSDs in the country. When I said DSDs, I'm simply saying direct store delivery. I
Okay.
go directly to the stores with the product from my packaging plant
Okay.
and do it. At some point, probably off the air, I wouldn't want nobody to shoot me, but at some point off the air, I'd tell you the pluses behind doing DSD yourself.
Okay. Okay. So, but you got the production end of it. So you do your own distribution, but then you need
Exactly.
people for accounting purposes. I'm sure you have to hire an accountant. Uh,
I do. I have a certified public accountant.
uh-huh.
Tracks the number, pays the taxes, does the books, the
Mm,
whole nine yards. I do. I have a certified public accountant.
okay. And what about your marketing? Do you have a person that does that for you or?
Believe it or not, the level of creativity, even seeking out the temptations, I went
Mm-hmm.
and did that myself. The
Oh my
poster
goodness.
calendar, we have a
Mhm.
Temptations poster with them on it, along with me and the Jackson State University logo, the tiger and the whole nine yards. We have that out. That can be seen at most of Jewel's location, but people, for whatever reason, they'll take the posters
Okay.
because it's creatively done. And we're still going to come with some additional posters. The posters even at the neighborhood stores too. But this calendar is due out in January, this January, and it's pushing the all the flavors with emphasis on the Sunbelt ginger ale.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And since some of your soft drinks are also uh, associated with famous people, special people in our community, your
Hmm.
Barack Obama drink, and then there's obviously pictures associated
Yeah,
with. Hmm.
exactly. The Sam Jones edition lemonade. He's on the inset of the lemons.
Okay.
Uh, Barack Obama inset of the White House. Harold Washington, the city seal logo itself. Harold Washington root beer.
Okay.
Uh, that's out there.
Hmm.
It's really out there.
That's wonderful.
Uh,
That's wonderful.
mm.
So what are some of the challenges that you have with running a business like this?
Well, fighting for fighting for shelf space, sometimes dealing with owners that are
Hmm.
insensitive to the needs of minority businesses. I
Okay.
think you touched upon that at the very beginning of the conversation, and that's true. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you have people in your hoods with stores. All neighborhood, well, 80 to 90% of Arab stores are actually the neighborhood stores are ran by people other than us. We don't have any neighborhood stores anymore.
That's
When
right.
I came on the scene in '79, there were roughly 150 black-owned convenience marts in this town. Now, I barely think you can raise one on the west side of Chicago on Madison Street.
What happened
Barely.
to our stores? From your
Well,
perspective, you've been around for a minute, what happened to
well,
the stores?
uh, they tried to make the stores generational, like a few
Hmm.
other businesses. For the most part, uh, they wanted to pass them on, the owners, and I knew all of them. Probably
Hmm.
take me an hour or two to name them all by name. You had them on the south side, you had them on the west side, you had them on the western suburbs, you had them in the southern suburbs. But you had all told 150 plus black owned convenience marts. Well, they what they thought was a pot of gold. Some of them, they took the money and ran and found out that the grass wasn't green on the other side and taking the money. Some of them, a percentage of them. There were a percentage of them, for which I knew all of them. There were a percentage of them that tried very hard to make this thing generational, a legacy concept. Well, I'm leaving this behind as a lasting legacy to my son and daughter, or my daughter and son, or my
Hmm.
brother, etc. Somehow that went awry. That didn't totally materialize. And God, I hate it didn't, and I wish it should have, but it just didn't.
Was it
Denise, it
because
just
their children didn't
they didn't
want to
have an
go into
interest.
business? They didn't have the
Well,
same
they didn't have the interest, and then the Arabs was getting off the planes with suitcases of money,
oh.
saying, "Here I am. This is
Hmm.
what I can do for you."
Hmm.
And so, some of them I've been able to network with and work with in the absence of black convenience stores going by way of the dinosaur. And I hate it, and I'm hoping and believing in my vision at some point there will be a resurgence of African Americans in convenience markets in this town and in this country. Um, I don't even know why they left, but as I say, I was a part of the inner workings of those people. And the name of their organization back then was called Inner City Liquor Association, which is black owned.
Hmm.
So ran by Dan Moore and Thomas Adams. And it was a who's who of people that were a part of it. But it was ran by those two individuals. And they were a well-oiled organization. And within those 150 stores and those groups of people, they had all kind of buying power within the service, within the manufacturers who produce stuff like tissues and craft foods and the beer companies and
Hmm.
um, all the things that you go in a grocery store and buy now. These items were found in those 150 uh, stores, and they were in a position to go as a group to those people, 150 plus strong, and say, "This
Hmm.
is what we want." I am hurt so bad at this point in time, and that we don't have that leverage or that buying power. Because back
Okay.
then, they could go and say, "Hey, look, we're 150 strong. This is what we want. This is what we want you to do for us." We had that leverage then. We don't have that leverage now.
But I think with people, like yourself with your soft drinks, you go online. There are lots of people who are making different types of juice blends. There are black. websites
mhm,
for
mhm,
juice blends. There's black websites for
mhm,
pet spas. There are
mhm,
black websites for hair care products. And
mhm,
it seems like if we continue with this momentum, that maybe
mhm,
we can come together. These people can
mhm.
begin to come together because we have to do something to change the trajectory that this has gone in.
Well, what I've always said, and I guess I'm speaking national now, what I've always said and always thought, that if we had the will of the Congressional Black Caucus in all these cities to
Hmm.
have come together, and we're going to attempt it if we can, because we do an annual dinner too. This year we're doing the 37th anniversary MLK dinner set for April 5th at Mount Pisgah. And we want to come back sometime before April and at least talk about it. That's something we've been doing, honoring Dr. King for the last 30, going on 37 years. It'll be
Hmm.
37 years this April. But getting to the point, in the interest of time, I would have hoped that Congressional Black Caucus could have been, I mean, they do a great thing in September, huh? But when they do a grand party, somewhere along the planning, they should be talking about an economic agenda for the urban
Absolutely.
centers, for the urban centers of America. To
Absolutely.
go and do what you're doing in September. But we have three representatives represent Illinois. I think one from Indiana. You've always, I think, had one from Michigan. Congress is not there anymore, but Rashida Tlaib, I think, has John Conyers' seat in Detroit, and you had, I think, you still have a sister that represents a district there in Cleveland, Ohio, that had the late Louis Stokes seat, who was the late Carl Stokes' brother, the first black mayor of Cleveland, Ohio. You've had representatives from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia in particular. I don't think you've ever had anybody out of Pittsburgh. But D.C. has always had a delegate. Maryland has always had a congressional caucus member. Other states, Benny Thompson's there in Mississippi. Uh, you've had, I think, Sheila Jackson Lee out of Texas.
Hmm.
Uh, I think one of the members have just died. Johnson, Jackson or somebody. But
And then, and
you've had,
then we have Danny Davis.
yeah, that's what I said. We have three. We have three congressional Black Caucus members
Mhm.
in Chicago. But I would think it would mean a lot when they're planning strategies in September about this great party, putting together an economic agenda for the urban centers of America. See, if they did that, we're going to try to address that following the dinner in April the best we can. But if they did that and made that a priority, now perhaps we could go to Biden and say, well, look, this is what we want.
Okay.
We can't just be a surrogate of yours, carrying your water
That's right.
when we're hurting in Chicago, we're hurting in Detroit, we're hurting in Cleveland, we're hurting in St. Louis. They also have a congressional representative, I think, uh, as well as a black mayor, and they're in St. Louis, I believe. Um, this is what we need to be talking about, our economics, which would probably be the prelude to reparations. See,
Okay.
because I'm an avid fan of that. If I'm saying if not now, when? We're
That's
giving
right.
we're giving away money everywhere else to everybody else. What about us?
I couldn't think of a better time,
Now, if
to
not if
address.
not now, if not now, when?
That's right.
And we would be remiss if we let this moment in time get away and we don't strike a blow for fairness.
That's right.
Because at this given time, we're still in seek of, which is also can be comparable to reparations. We're
Hmm.
still seeking that check that Dr. King spoke about in one of his speeches. We are still seeking the funds from the check returned from the Bank of Justice mark non-sufficient funds.
That's right.
that too is reparations because we've been
Mhm.
trying to get it forever and a day.
Mhm.
So we've been fighting and everybody's been getting but us.
That's
So
right.
and it's sad. And I'm thinking that our focus, our emphasis should be talking about let's let's get this done now. See, you bringing a convention here in June, July, August, whenever. Uh, we we want to talk as much about what's in it for us
That's right.
economically in the
That's right.
urban centers of America as we do want to talk about you getting reelected. Because one thing about it, you can't run but twice. If he's fortunate enough to get in now, and we don't get anything on the front side of him going in, we may not get nothing once he gets in.
That's right.
We don't have any, we haven't gotten anything now tangible that we can think of.
Mm. That's right. Never have.
So
Never
we have
have.
to use
Sister,
we have to use the
I
police.
agree with you. I agree with you 1000%. And I think this is a good time for us to talk
It
about
has to
reparations.
be. It has to be. We
And
don't
we
want you
have to
coming
be
in.
talking about economics, and
That
it
you
has to
have to
be
be.
economics for Black
Everybody's
people.
getting economics. We bringing people in here from. Everybody has to be talking about economics. We bringing in here from people in here from a third world country, giving them all kind of money. Venezuela, giving them all kind of money. They
That's
can't
right.
seem to do nothing with the borders.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm for progress, and I'm on record as saying I don't have anything personally against people trying to succeed and be successful. But you're overlooking the disenfranchised that have been here for a lifetime and have been suffering and have been promised and have been promised and have been promised and nothing tangible has come of it.
And have played a major role in making this country what it is. It's the
Right,
reason why so many people want to come here. It was the free labor of Black people that created the wealth here
right,
in this country.
right. And those are my issues. How can you come in and tell me you want to be reelected when we look at your report card and say, what have you done for us lately?
Hmm. That's right.
You want us to reelect you? Then what's in it for us?
That's
We don't
right.
want no stomp speeches because we hear them all the time.
That's
you
right.
know,
And
we don't want to hear these sound bites of I believe this and it sounds good, sound good. When the cameras go away and you either got reelected or not reelected, the whole vision and the mission began to get lost.
that's right.
It's all about now. I mean, they doling out money like 40 going north in this town and the rest of the cities. But the people have begun to speak up. So, well, wait a minute. What about us?
That's
You
right.
got 5 busloads and governor of Texas sending them in here like 40 going north because he understands that open borders and that's deep. And I don't want to get I don't want to get into Mr. Biden's business, but I will say I'm wondering what the heck really is going on.
That's
I
right.
don't need to get in your business, but I'm saying, well, what are you doing? You're bringing people in communities and disrupting communities and using resources that these people could be using. What are you
That's
doing to us?
that's
I
right.
mean, how are we gonna, you know, the things you and I talk about from an economic perspective, if he keeps doing what he's doing the way he's doing it, the things we talk about that we would like to be reality has a slim chance of becoming a reality.
I mean, you have a wonderful product. You have a very viable product because everybody drinks soft drinks to some extent, and you should be able to propel your product forward. You should be getting all the support that you need to propel your project.
I
And
go along with that.
this is and many other people out here with products that they have put their hearts and their soul in, have some wonderful products out here.
Mhm.
And you shouldn't have to compete with other people just because they got the bag, because they got the money. We need our
Right.
government to step in and make this fair.
When it comes to us, in most cases, they try to hit you with your credit score and this, that, and the other, and so forth and so on. And they got these 3 credit agencies and all that. But you know what? These people in this country do what they want to for people. I
That's
know
right.
TransUnion exists. I know Equifax exists, and I know the other one,
Experian,
Experian.
Experian.
But these people do what they want for people.
And then
They
they got
use these.
another one. There's another one out here that people not haven't even heard of. You know, they create credit unions. I mean,
That's right. That
credit
is a
report
metaphor. That is
agencies.
a metaphor for denying you if they don't want you to get something.
Hmm.
That's the first thing these people try to come. Well, what's your credit score? They know that's the barometer for which they're going to accept or not or deny doing anything for you. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a benchmark or a barometer, but that's the first thing that'll come out of their mouth. What's your credit score? What's your credit score? And in many cases now, if our credit score was so squeaky clean and we had this and we had that, we wouldn't have to ask for this and ask for that. But half of us don't have it because we, like a lot of people, have had a tumble or a fall in life. And I know they talk about credit repairs and all that. But
Hmm.
shoot, you have to pay for credit repairs.
That's right. And
So
it only takes one 30-day late to tumble that score.
there you go.
And
So
that
we
and that
need to
30-day late stays on your credit.
exactly. We need to
For
get them to play us straight up and play fair with us. We have banks in our community.
that's right.
Chase,
That's
Bank of
right.
America.
Hmm.
And I'm a friend of Greg Brown. I heard you mention him. I have
That's
an
right.
account over. I have an
That's right.
account over there. Uh, but you know, these people don't play us straight up. They only unless you got all these gods and gods of money. They don't play us straight up. I
Hmm.
just have to call a spade a spade. Uh,
And
I was Greg.
that's why we need the opportunity to have our own,
We
so that
should. We should
so
have
that we
had it
can
by
look out
now.
so we can look
Right.
out for each other.
That's
That's right.
right. That's the only way we're gonna
Right.
survive.
That's
See,
right. And
because all the other
The Southside Community Federal Credit Union is over there giving financial literacy classes, you know, trying to help people get their credit together, helping people get loans, you know, whether it's car loans, mortgage loans, personal loans. And some people who couldn't go to some of these major banks that are sitting in
right,
our community, and the majority of our people have their deposits in these banks.
exactly. You see
And
what I'm
that's
saying?
enabling them to become wealthy and to thrive.
That's true. That's true. On the backs of the poor. That's right.
That's right.
So
Right.
they'll take, you know, and I say the Bank of America, well, I'm Bank of America too. Got to count there too. But and
Hmm.
I say to them, I said, but you guys just take our money, but I don't see anything tangible that you really do for us.
That's right.
And that's
That's right.
unfortunate, but you'll accept the deposits.
That is not the way it's supposed to be. When you
It
have
never should have been
business,
that.
when you have a community and you have
Hmm.
businesses in your community, your community should be establishing community benefits agreements with those businesses that are in
That's
your
true.
community.
That's
And then
very true.
there's a give and a take. I'm supporting you, and this is what I'm going to get back. You know,
Right. And
it's a
a lot
reduction
of
in
times,
price.
justice delayed does become justice denied
That's right.
because they give us the rhetoric rather. I'm having this kind of night, but they give us the rhetoric but no substance.
That's
And
right.
so, at some point, hopefully, they'll give us a substance. Because I went to D.C. for the March on Washington, I was so disappointed. Effort was there, but I'm sure Dr. King is just disappointed, disillusioned. There's just some things I would love to say to you off air, off script, but I won't do it tonight. But at
Sure.
some point, I will share with you. Yeah, I will share them with you. I was in D.C. for the march, and we honored a great man, Mr. Spencer Leak Sr., owner of Lincoln Science Funeral Home. We were up at Howard University. We did a civil rights town hall meeting up at Howard University during the time of the march. In my mind, that was the highlight of the march because we've gone from, and I still don't have an accurate count of what the numbers were. I went through there just to say hi because we didn't start the town hall meeting until 4 o'clock. So I spent a little time up on the mall before I went back to Howard and we put on this great town hall meeting, featured people like Dr. Robert Starks,
Sure.
former, professor emeritus of Northeastern, and we had Judge Van Henry White, who is a Rochester City judge, who will be in town at our dinner. Matter of fact, he has the Rosa Parks bus that he'll be bringing to Chicago April 5th for the dinner.
Okay.
So you will get an invitation. So you need to come by Mount Pisgah. So we're
Definitely will.
hosting them. And so, but the town hall meeting, which was a dedication to Mr. Spencer Lee Sr., was in my mind the highlight of the march because I didn't see anything else tangible to come from it. Not really. Um, and it was a tragedy, but we did. It went down, but it was a real tragedy. So, I mean, it was the town hall meeting was great, well viewed, so forth. So on. People all across the country had a chance to weigh in, and those two principal players were speaking, and we were talking about some of the great work that Mrs. Leak is doing here in Chicago and how he's impacted or been impacted. His work has been impacted all across the country. So we had a good time. Uh, People in his industry, several of which came out to be with us because they knew he was being honored, and that town hall meeting was dedicated to him. And the people at Howard opened us with welcome arm, and we do a big thing at the dinner where we take people into the National Civil Rights Hall of Fame. Howard, Mr. Leak is a member, along with several other. Our list reads like a who's who in the National Civil Rights Hall of Fame. But Mr. Leak is a member and one of the executive board members of the National Civil Rights Hall of Fame. Um, but it was great. It was great. So the guy that did the taping of it, he'll be in town too
Okay.
at the dinner.
Okay.
So, yeah. But back to what you're saying,
Sure.
Denise, you're on point. You're on point, sister. You're definitely on point in regards to what you're saying, and where you're coming from. We need to be proactive about the urban centers. Because I don't just say inner cities and all this. I've been using the term urban centers for a long time. Chicago is an urban center. We don't get overran by what's going on.
Sure.
Detroit, Cleveland, St. Louis, and Naptown, Pittsburgh, Philly, D.C., and we go south, New Orleans, Atlanta, Memphis. Nashville. These are urban centers. And we've been the multitude and the nucleus as to who and what have made up urban centers of America during our time. So we need to persevere and be in a position to go forward with it, hopefully in a big time way.
And who would you say are mostly your customers for your soft
That
drinks?
buy the product,
Uh-huh.
if you're talking about the convenience marts, we have a cross section. If you talk about Jewel Osco, we have a cross section. If we're talking about the Harold's Chicken Shacks, also a cross section. Um, we, blacks and whites go in these Jewel locations as well, so they
So you
buy
have
them.
a very marketable product.
Oh yeah, and it is a cross.
Very
It
marketable.
is the cross section because I tell people all the time, we we do print media, we do electronic media, we do paraphernalia, we do all the things that the big guys do at a mid-range scale. And we do a lot of social media. Uh, I don't have a, I didn't put emphasis on a website because now I'd have to talk about how great things are, and I don't want to paint that picture. I want to paint the picture that we're doing good. On my Facebook page, page tells you a lot about Sunbelt Soft Drinks as well as the things and the works of the National Civil Rights Library. So I wouldn't want to take the time to be, oh, Sunbelt. I think the people in Tulsa asked us, well, you have a website? I said, no, my Facebook, pursuant to Sunbelt Soft Drinks, is our website. I said, we have a website for the National Civil Rights Library.com. That's our website. It also gives a pictorial, historical perspective of who we are, what we're doing in that regards. That it
Okay.
does. Mhm.
Well, family, we're talking to Mr. William Thurman, who is the founder of Sunbelt Soft Drinks USA. And with all of the knowledge that you have and the success that you're having, that you're experiencing right now, what words of wisdom would you give to some young entrepreneurs out here today, that are embarking upon these types of businesses, or actually any kind of business for that matter?
I would say to them, going and understanding that he or she would have to roll up their sleeves, okay, and make a and want to make a commitment to the long haul, because A, nothing's gonna come easy. B, if it's worth anything, you have to be able to say within your inner self, if this thing is going to succeed and have a positive image and a positive and a successful outlook, I, as the catalyst behind what's going on, have to be willing to deal with the whole element of withstanding the test of time.
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. Wonderful words of wisdom. And I really like the information that you imparted regarding, people can contact their congressional members and
Yeah,
uh,
I mean,
and
see
impart
this
upon them the importance of addressing economics. You
right,
know,
and this is a situation that
economic
should have been
political freedom.
addressed years ago. I know we went to the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington.
Hmm.
I think the theme of it was, and Van Henry White, who will be here, he's going to be inducted April 5th at Mount Pisgah, along with a few other notables. But
Hmm.
Van was the theme of that particular uh, re, anniversary was be be quiet, be still, and listen. Voices of economic and political change. Okay, and that's what brings us to here to now. Though the report cards, we want to have said other things in a positive way, but because of circumstances, the report cards have said other things. And, it's just certain congressional persons, they're writing every day, and that's good. But my
Hmm.
sister, um, at some point, we have to challenge them to get real with us.
That's right.
And they're not. They're just not. The labels, Democrat, Republican. Um, when we look at the report cards, what can we really say? Yeah, well, maybe you can make a case for the Dems being the latter of the two evils,
Hmm.
but any snake will bite you. So my thing is, if you so much better than the Republicans, okay, then it's like the song goes, show me, because
Hmm.
we we want to go along to get along. So, oh, we lifelong Democrats, both. Uh, just I'm not impressed and everything, and with the turn of events of what's happening in this urban center, Chicago, urban center, New York, urban center, Detroit. I mean, not Detroit. That's not happening in Detroit. Let me strike that. D.C., Philly, Denver. I'm told. See, sanctuary city, I think, would be requiescence of folks with a ton of money, and the people within their respective urban centers are already doing okay.
Hmm.
Okay, already got it made. You're putting people in cities where the people there are hurting.
That's right.
So I mean, how can you justify that? That's all I'm saying.
That's right. It's
I'm
about
on
being
record as saying
it's
that
about being fair. I'm sorry, go ahead. Go
I'm
on.
on record as saying it's okay to help, but I think giving starts at home,
Hmm.
and the people at home are being been disenfranchised ever since the beginning of time.
That's right.
So if you're not gonna, if we gotta now take a back seat again, then our whole agenda over a period of time becomes lost.
And it's on us. I don't take sides, one party or the other. I'm more looking at our issues, getting our issues on the
They're
table
valid. They're
and
legitimate. You're right.
presenting those issues to whoever is running. And let's
Yeah,
see who is going to address those issues, who's even going to say that they're going to address those issues.
we need at this point in the game, my sister, those people. That period between the August, and I know it's not a long window, but that period between August and the election, or July and the election, it's not a huge window.
Right.
But we things should be going on in urban centers like Chicago and all the others I've mentioned. I won't keep rattling them off by name, but things things should be going on as a prelude to the convention,
That's right.
so that you will have fulfilled promises made, promises kept, or at least began the process of addressing this check that we've been sitting on since Dr. King has spoke out for it. We've been sitting on this check a long time.
Hmm.
I'm just wondering when we, the people in the urban centers of America, can get it cashed so we too can begin to benefit.
That's right.
You know, a party label is insignificant if it's not doing anything.
That's right.
And it's time out for dog and pony shows.
That's right.
We don't get anything from that.
That's right.
All of them, what's name right now? They chip in this, chip in that. I'm saying to myself, what is he doing for people?
Hmm.
You know, we it's all right to be talking about having us at the forefront in leadership, but if you're going to be at the forefront in leadership, then you ought to be proactive about having some successes for the masses. I'm not
That's
talking
right.
about an inner circle group. We should be talking about successes for the masses, masses.
And not
Our
just black.
congressmen should be talking about that, and this in their districts, in Cleveland, and on down the line.
Right. Friends and family, we have been listening to some words of wisdom from William Thurman, who is the founder of Sunbelt Soft Drinks USA, a very successful product here that you can purchase at Jewel's and many of our convenience stores. Harold's Chicken is he's got his pops all over the place, and he's also imparting some very important information about economics because that's what our businesses are about, economic, and how we need to change the trajectory that we're going in. It's very, very important. And I want to thank you for coming tonight. We ask that you go to our website at rrgbc.org and subscribe so you can win one of our books in our book giveaway because knowledge is power. We have some wonderful bookstores here with some great books, and you can win those books as a subscriber. We pay for the book, we pay for the shipping. We prefer that you go to the bookstore if it's a brick and mortar and purchase the book there and get to know that owner and get to see all of the books that they have in their stores. And we also are asking you to go to Save Black Bookstores Chicago at change.org. That's Save Black Bookstore Chicago at change.org. Sign our petition as we push for support from our local schools and our local libraries for our bookstores. So, Mr. Thurman, again, I want to thank you for coming. We're very appreciative of what you are doing. Definitely, you want to give the information about your event in April again?
Mm.
Before we
That
end.
event is the 37th anniversary MLK dinner,
Hmm.
set for Friday, April 5th, 2024. It's going to be at Mount Pisgah Missionary Baptist Church That's 4600 MLK Drive. Our keynote speaker is Attorney James D. Montgomery, who is also a member of the National Civil Rights Hall of Fame. Our theme for this year's dinner is the civil rights community at the crossroads. 60 years later, where do we go from here?
Absolutely.